Welcome to the DJ Insider Podcast, sponsored by Amplified Events.
It's the only podcast where we break down insider information from our weddings, experience, and advice from over 15 years in the wedding industry.
We're your hosts. I'm Mike Kane, owner of Amplified Events.
And I'm Joe Albomonte, the general manager of Amplified Events.
Let's get into it. All right. Cheers, gang. We're back.
We're back.
Yes. And we took a week off, the Mother's Day. We actually recorded one online, but it didn't work out too well. So we're like,
sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry about you guys. We appreciate everyone listening. How did your gigs go? Last weekend or the weekend prior? What were the gigs and
Good.
highlights,
Good.
lowlights, things learned?
Yeah, definitely. So last weekend I did a bat mitzvah. It was great. It was short. It was at the Potawatomi Conservatory out in South Bend. So I had never been there, and let me tell you, that was the most beautiful venue.
Wow.
And that may be saying, because I've been to some really beautiful venues and some awesome places, but I'm a flowers guy and an outdoors guy, and like from the outside, it just looks like a greenhouse. It looks like a greenhouse with some frosted glass windows, and you can't really see much inside, and it doesn't look like anything crazy from the outside. I'm like, is that it? And then you go inside, and it's just this beautiful botanical garden with like waterways and trees and exotic plants, and it's 3 or 4 different rooms, and it extends really long.
Dude.
And they did a photo booth, and we didn't do a backdrp. There was just like the flowers and greenery and the trees, and we were inside.
Nature's backdrop.
Yeah, nature's backdrop. So it was it was stunning. And the people were so nice, and I had never done a bat mitzvah before, so that was really cool just to work. We didn't do much. We didn't do the candle lightings or anything like that.
Sure. You weren't involved necessarily in the traditions. You're involved in the party.
Yeah. So we did the party, and then the only thing we did was the Hava Nagila. Is that how you say that?
But they put them on the chair.
She got on the chair.
Hava.
Her name was Maggie. They were a great family.
That's
But she
awesome.
id on the chair, and they lifted her up for the song. And
Yes.
it was really cool.
Oh, so cool.
But how was yours? How was your event?
Let's see. Okay, so I had a wedding at Shady Creek, and then in the previous week I was at, where was I at previous week?
I had forgot where I was too. That's why I didn't mention 2
Yeah,
weeks
yeah.
ago. Oh my god,
man, they're running together.
They do all run together. I know I was with Micah.
Let's see, Micah. Where would you guys have?
Well,
been?
the Grand.
The Grand.
We were at the Grand.
And I was with Mason at Barrel House.
Yes.
Oh yes.
You want to?
Oh yeah, 10 of 10.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal. Barrel House always takes good care of us, and that day was no different. They had a violin player for ceremony. Everything was flawless, super well, easy going. And then they surprised me with like a last second, we want to get like a photo with every table. So we did that. And then while I was doing that, like I basically had people get in line. And then I was just playing like the warm the floor hits to kind of like get people in the mood to dance.
See them dancing at their tables.
Yes,
a little
and then
bit,
we just hit them hard. At first, the couple was like, "Yeah, have them sit down for cake," and I was like, I didn't say anything because I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea. So I just waited like 90 seconds.
Yeah.
And then the groom came up and was like, never mind, let's dance.
No cake. Let's get out there. Yeah.
Yes. He read the energy the same way I was reading it, which was like, let's party. And that's what everybody was giving off. And it was a full-on party. I mean, they danced their butts off. They went nuts.
Nice. I love that.
It was really fun. And Kyla, and I can't remember her second's name, but she was really nice. And it was just great. Great staff, great food, great
I always
everything.
like it there. It's always just a nice.
Yeah.
It's a good flow.
Yeah, and it was such a good dance floor. I was like, you guys are behaving, so I'm going to let Mason jump on. And she mixed the last half of the night and killed it.
Nice.
So that was really cool. Fast forward to the last weekend, I had one of my former friends, vendor friends from the industry, Jeremy. He was getting married to a guy named Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Yes, at Shady Creek Winery. Absolutely stunning, absolutely beautiful. Everything went off without a hitch. It was fantastic and really nice little night.
Nice. Yeah. I when I was at the Grand, I can't say it was a 10 out of 10. It was a great party. Like everybody was dancing, everybody was out there having a good time. Bride and groom had a really great time. They wrote me a review. They were super nice. But it was interesting music choices just all throughout the night. It was kind of all over the place, and the crowd was responding well to like everything. So I couldn't really get a read on everything. It was kind of an easy night for me.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a rager. Like, there wasn't that energy in the room that we're all raging, but it was still a really good party. And just some interesting stuff. Like, they wanted no country at all, or no college songs, like the IU song, because one of them went to IU, one of them went to Alabama.
Oh, no.
And everybody kept requesting
Roll Tide.
Dixieland Delight.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
wanted the Dixieland Delight because that's the song they sing, apparently. And I kept saying, I'm sorry. She said no country. I'm just not sure if that's the vibe. I'm sorry. Like, maybe. And then, like, second to last song, the bride came up and was like, hey, let's do Dixieland Delight right now. I'm like, okay, wait. Everybody's been waiting for this. Now it's like a thing.
Dude, I love that. I love that. And well, it built up, and then it's everyone's, it's the reward thing,
Exactly.
You know?
So
No,
it worked
not
out.
paid.
It was fun. It was a good
awesome.
wedding.
Heck yeah.
I like the Grand. It's pretty.
Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous.
Interesting load in, but you go
Yeah.
through those shops downstairs, and that's
Yeah.
kind of cool.
I don't love the load in. I don't love the court room for a ceremony, but it works, right?
Yeah.
It's doable.
It's nice acoustically.
The Mackey Ballroom is just fantastic. And it's a great layout for a party. Plus, you can get away in the back bar area.
For sure. I lucked out with parking. I got that spot
good.
right next to the door.
I never do.
Right next to
I
the
always
door.
have to go around the square several times.
I didn't have to loop it one time. I got that lucky.
Oh, that's good. That's
So
good.
I didn't even move because I was like, we can leave and whatever. I was like, we're just gonna walk. Like, why would we go anywhere? There's places on the square. We're already set up. But
Yes.
I'm not driving anywhere. That car
Yes.
stays.
Love that. Dude,
So
we had a weird thing happen last weekend.
What happened?
So I set up. I'm getting set up. Me and Mason get loaded in. We're setting up. And Shane Clemenson, photographer, is already there, killing it. On time, crushed it. I love him. He's the best. This videographer shows up. I didn't catch his name or his company. And he starts shooting, and he has like kind of a track thing on a tripod thing. Okay. And so I think he's taking tracking shots, B-roll of the venue. I was like, oh, I didn't realize they hired a videographer, but whatever, you know. So we got set up. We stepped in the next room. It's like a rosé room. It's kind of a tasting. And then we're setting up the photo booth, and we come back in, and he's taking a shot, and we walk right in a shot. And I felt bad, but also I'm kind of like, you know, you could have checked and said, hey, I'm going to take a shot. Can you just stay out until I tell you it's, you know.
Yeah.
So it is. No big deal. That happens
Tape a
sometimes.
sign.
I apologize. We got right out of the way, and he finished his shot.
For sure.
So we're setting up. Then decor is there. They had floral there. I was there. Shane was there. And we're not finished setting up. We're still setting up. And they're like, stop what you're doing. Step over here. Because I want to shoot the room. And I'm like, well, we're not set up yet. But okay. So we step out. And all of the vendors are like looking at each other, and this guy's doing the shot. And I go, is this for the couple? And he's like, no, this is a corporate video. The venue wants to do more events or weddings here, and they hired me to shoot a commercial. Like, since it's set up for a wedding, we want to shoot it. And I was like, whoa, like,
let's.
You know, like, nobody told me that was happening. Like, I didn't legally agree to that. And, like, you're stopping me from doing my contracted work that I'm here
There's
to
a
do.
wedding today.
You're delaying this. You know, guests are going to arrive any second. You know, I still had a lot of time. But, like, it was absolutely frustrating.
That sounds very
to have somebody interrupt your work to, like, do their job, which is totally unrelated.
Yeah.
Anyway,
not even working that day. I mean, you could have came back on a Sunday.
If they were going to do that, the venue could have called me or texted me. That dude could have explained why he was there, asked nicely, when you're finished setting up, if I could get a quick shot, just let me know. Like, there's so many professional ways to go about that. Anyway, I finished setting up. He sees our setup, which obviously looks amazing in the space especially, and I think that's a big part of why Jeremy chose me, is like, we had a great working relationship in the past at all these weddings, and then my setup just beautifully fills the space. It looks gorgeous, like it's always supposed to be there. Just this white, clean bun booth with white RCF J8 speakers. Like, it's just clean. And he's like, hey, can I shoot your setup? And I said, yes, but just tag me.
Yeah.
Tag me in the video. That's all. And he's like, well, it's not my video. I'm shooting it for the venue. And I was like, well, just tell them who I am and to tag me when they post this video.
Yeah.
And he says, well, why? And I said, what do you mean? I was like, are they using this to sell the space? Like, are they promoting? And they're going to use my equipment, my setup, like, to sell this vision of, you know, I was like, without asking or tagging me or even referring me. I was like, I have an issue.
And it's also not the equipment that's going to be there every
week. Right.
Like, as much as we can get, like, the space and everything, I don't think highlighting the DJ's equipment is illogical sell, even, because
it doesn't make any sense why
unless we're there every single week, which we're not.
It doesn't make any sense why he would want that in the shot. To me,
no, that's very odd.
If he's asking and I'm telling, then just tag me. It's a very reasonable thing. He didn't have to sign anything. I was just going to take his word on it that he would do right by me. Mm-hmm. But he couldn't even give that, so I said no. Like, he's like, never mind, I don't want to deal with all this. I was like, okay, see ya, bye.
Yeah, whatever.
Like, by the way, when he was shooting the room, my bags were still all over. Like, we weren't set up. He just, like, interrupted. It was a mess. So I was like, this isn't going to look good. Your shot's not
No.
going to look good. You're going to see my bags.
Bags everywhere.
Anyway, there's a way to do that. And
There is.
you communicate ahead of time. You call me or text me, and you say, hey, it's okay if we shoot. Like, you know, I would have got there early.
I would have showed up an hour even earlier.
So many
so
things.
you have an extra hour to shoot.
And
let
I
me
would have
just set up earlier.
I always make it look beautiful, but I could have like made it even look even better for like if
really
you're-
got the tape perfect. Really, got everything.
There's so
perfect.
many things but anyway, it was just so frustrating, and it was very clear this guy doesn't do weddings. Like he shoots corporate stuff, and so he didn't think it was a big deal to like. I could tell floral decor, they were upset. Like everybody was like, what is going
happening?
on? Now, if it's for the couple, fine. And like sometimes, you're kind of on top of each other, vendors.
For sure.
But we work
absolutely.
together. But I was just like, this is
But
just
it wasn't
so-
even for them.
This is so rude. Stop what you're doing and set up. And anyways, everything else was fine, but wild. Never had that first.
That's
Especially to be like denied like a simple, like just tag me. Give me credit.
That's not
like,
hard. That's really not hard.
Yeah. When people like overlook that, it's not a big thing. But when people intentionally are like, no, I'm going to take your footage of your stuff and use it for my
gain.
and you're not going to get it. Like,
No.
I was like, no, you don't have my permission.
You actually can't do that. You can film everything.
I
else.
almost was like, is it okay if I use your video to promote my business? Is that okay without me paying you anything? And I'm not going to credit your it either.
Or tagging you.
Yeah. I was like, stealing. You're stealing.
My credit. Yeah.
You're stealing.
We edited
like,
this and shot it. Yeah. That's
it's not quite
ridiculous.
stealing, but it's certainly taking credit for someone else's intellectual and physical property.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I've taken a long time to find, and I really do care about the way our setup looks.
Yeah.
And so when someone was to like just yoink and like take credit for that without, it's upsetting. But
I
anyway,
agree.
dude, so we took a week off, and so you made
Yes.
that post on Monday, which was like, hey, listeners, what do you want to hear us talk about?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
Bob Marlow's DJ. I think he's out of Kentucky, Tennessee, something like that.
Nice.
I've checked out his page. He's killing it, man. Crushes it.
Nice.
But he asked us about multicultural weddings. Like,
Yeah.
what have you had experience doing that? And like, do you do anything to prepare for that? Let me pull up his exact quote here.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
I thought it was really good, and it got me thinking because I was like, it's not really a topic we touched on.
Yeah,
although
definitely.
we do them. Let me see his comment on there. I thought it was really good. Hear about your experience with multicultural couples, how you all approach planning, balance, performing for both audiences. I work a lot with multicultural couples, and I have begun working on some back-end processes to make planning easier on my end. First of all, Bob Marlowe, thank you for listening, and then also, thank you for the question, for the topic. So first, to just break it down, like multicultural, what they mean. It's basically two different, distinct cultures in their, especially when it comes to their music taste and the traditions at the wedding. That's what we're talking about, and that can be anything. Any unique, or I have a whole list that I've made of ones I could remember, but any off the top of your head, fun or unique ones you've done, cultural weddings, other than your own,
No, I think the only one that comes to mind, and I've definitely told this story before about the fight that took place at a wedding.
Yes.
And then the song that was sung. And that was a different type of wedding. It was a multicultural wedding. So one of the couple, one family was Polish. The other couple was mostly Hispanic. So we had a lot of Spanish music, some bachata, some salsa, some of that. And then also some Polish songs, some traditional Polish songs as well. And then a fight broke out, and it was the whole thing. But then the mother of the bride came and sang a traditional Spanish song and absolutely killed it. So it was just a wide variety of music. And I think our planning app really helps with that.
Sure.
So they can upload the exact songs that they're looking for, because I don't know a lot of Polish music. I don't know a ton about bachata. We may have it downloaded on our computer, but I don't know a lot of those songs, like just searching the title possibly. So I think our app really helps with that, just getting a general idea of the songs that they are looking for. I think that helps. And then I think at a lot of weddings where we do multicultural type weddings, I do think like family members are very, very helpful when giving requests that day, because they have traditional family songs that I've never heard of, that these guests maybe haven't even heard of, but they go way back in the family. And I think that those songs are super important. And I think that the song that she sung was one of those songs. So that's just how I do it. It's up to the couple. What I see in the app, I go off of that. And I think that's kind of it, just I play what they want.
Yeah, it's the Vibo planning app.
Yeah.
Talk to Michael Mahler. He's fantastic. He's on this amazing app that works with DJs, and You download it to your phone, and it helps you organize playlists and make suggestions, and you can create lists. And so you could have literally bachata music on there and just share that with the couple if you wanted. You also could, they can use Apple Music, YouTube, or Spotify, organize their own playlist or search what other people have done, and then add that. And it'll make suggestions. And Spotify is really good because it has an AI. It'll say, if you like this song, other people like
At the bottom, yeah, that's super helpful.
So it makes really good suggestions based on what people listen to.
Yeah.
But I've done quite a few multicultural weddings. Let me just run through some ones that I could remember. I've done a British one.
Oh, very cool.
Distinctly British with like specific British songs. I've actually done a few, but they even had like British trivia, like where they was like this part of the fun thing.
Oh, very
they did.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they shared. Of course, done quite a few Mexican weddings. Colombian, which was really unique and fun. Puerto Rican, Nigerian, Ugandan. I've done a Japanese one. I've done a Chinese one. Vietnamese. They partied hard.
Hell yeah.
One of the hardest partiers I've ever seen.
Cool.
Korean, Irish, Italian.
Gotta have it.
German, like legit German, speaking people.
Yeah.
Scottish, Bulgarian. That was really fun. Albanian. Every year we do a few Serbian ones. Greek, Indian, and Polish, of course. And then I did more than a few I've done where the bride or groom were Australian.
Oh, very cool.
And they had a few like little fun things that they did. But
Yeah.
But yeah.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what are some tips that you recommend? Like, do you typically go off the playlist? Do you look up that culture and dive into it? Or like,
so
what
the first thing I do, is usually look up, especially if it's, the couples usually tell us that like, hey, his family is whatever, and my family is whatever, and we want to incorporate some wedding traditions and some wedding music from each.
For sure.
And so I immediately will either look up or talk with them about past experiences I've had if I've already done a wedding like that. And ask them about music, and I encourage them, like, talk to an aunt, a cousin, a sister, somebody knows what your family and their culture, like that music, like especially the top hits. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
The ones that are going to get great grandma out there or grandma and all the cousins, everybody, that's like, it's just a universal kind of thing. So I always ask for a list if I can. And then I, of course, download, purchase all that, and I scan it. I use, what is the name of that? Mixed in key. To scan it, it'll give it a key. Serato's really good too. It'll scan it as well. It gives it the BPM and the key. So then I know I don't even have to understand the language, and I can mix it. Oh, I've also done a Persian.
Very cool.
A few Persian and Arabic, and then I think there was a Lebanese wedding I did. Anyway, there's lots of music where I don't even understand the language. Like I couldn't.
It was harder to mix.
I couldn't even write in. It's in Arabic, and so I couldn't even. There's no alphabet. I don't understand that language. I don't speak that language. And so I really rely on them to give me the list either on Spotify or on YouTube or Apple. And then I'll go in and find those songs and purchase them.
That makes sense.
But ideally it's been converted, unfortunately, to American because I'm an idiot. You know,
I don't have the keyboard with all the special keys.
Yeah. I don't understand that language. I'm ignorant. And anyway, but music is universal because it's mathematical. Yeah. There's always a beat structure. There's always a verse and a chorus. And once I have that, I can mix it. I don't even have to speak. And I've done some ragers like that.
Yeah.
And it's honestly no different. In fact, somewhat even easier than doing your traditional American English kind of weddings where it's like this song's going to hit big because of the beat.
Yeah,
and
I completely agree.
And I have another one. This one sounds very similar, and it got similar beat structure or similar key, and I can just mix it in, and the whole thing is seamlessly dropping it and keeping the energy up, keeping things moving. What I have found is if you're not careful, one culture will dominate the other.
That makes sense.
We're going to do Polish music, and it's 2 hours of Polish music, and we don't want anything from the groom side of the family or whatever.
Yeah.
And so you have to, as a DJ, you kind of have to play both sides where you play a few, 3 or 5. I just try to do 3 to 6, songs, and then mix back. And then, and generally, I'll talk with a couple about that beforehand, about, hey, in my experience previously, when I've done something like this with this culture or this, ask about their family and friends, what the energy is going to be like. Are they big dancers? That kind of thing. Any special traditions, any special songs like you have to play and make sure Grammy's there before you play it, that kind of thing. But yeah, what I find is that people will tell me, oh, yeah, we want like a little, we don't want a lot of that.
Yeah, okay.
They're like, that might be important to our family, but what's important to us as the couple is we want to have a good time. And so we feel more comfortable with these kind of songs. We know our family likes these kind of songs and his family likes these kind of songs. And so if you can do your best to blend those, that'd be fantastic, but we don't want it to be all this.
For sure. That makes sense.
They usually tell you, like, yeah, we want a full hour of this. But usually, so I say, okay, give me like
or warm the floor
5,
with
10,
this.
15 songs, and I'll take care of it. And then you just let me know. And sometimes people will like literally have that just as a section in the night. And then sometimes they'll have it, like I'll divide it up in kind of mini sections. That way to keep everybody interested and going. And ideally, nobody leaves. Like, if you can dance to anything, you don't have to understand the music. Just try to have
all
fun.
about the beat.
It helps, of course, if you have memories and understand what they're saying and you know what's coming up. And but it can be tough, honestly, because
for sure,
I've definitely had ones where I was playing music that I thought would hit for this culture and this group of people, and it did not. It just that's not what we're into. There's certain songs that really hit big with certain cultures, certain families. But even if you're a part of that culture, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have memories and like that. Think of how many American English songs that play at weddings that you and I don't like.
Yeah, true. And there's a lot of songs that I don't like that the general wedding population is gonna love, but I don't like that song.
Yeah, if you're cultural,
that makes sense.
Was it ethnocentrism where you think that your culture is the most dominant and the correct one, which is obviously untrue and ridiculous, but. Yeah, so it's easy to fall into that trap of thinking, well, it's an Arabic song, so they're going to love it. Like, it could be a crappy, terrible song.
Could be, the worst song.
Or they may not know it. Like, just because it's speaking the language.
True.
So be careful and, make sure you know. And that's why I do ask the couple to curate the list. Also understand their tolerance for what they want. Any unique... memory. I'm trying to think of some of these ones were pretty fun. We've had some like traditional, either like dancers or performers come out. Sometimes there's a traditional prayer. I've done a few Norwegian ones too. Some of the more wild ones. What are the more rowdy or like wild? Just like craziest parties.
Just in general.
I mean, I'm trying to think. Like the craziest dance floor I've ever had was the Vietnamese wedding. The bride and the groom both Vietnamese. I didn't play a single slow song, and they told me we don't want that. Yeah. Like, we want this kind of music, and we want to party hard.
We just want to party all night.
And it's just do this, and we're happy. And I was like, you got it. And oh, my goodness. I
don't know. It's hard to say, because throw a lot of good parties. No, I'm kidding. It's hard to say, because even if we mix it in or, like, mix out of it or just, like, sprinkle it in or play a lot of it, I mean, if it's a good party, it's a good party. And, like, that's kind of it. So it's kind of hard to choose, like, is which one was the best rager, like, in that regard. But I don't know. I mean, I think some of like the best parties I've ever had were like where we did like house, like EDM stuff. And it was like, there's no words at all. It's just the music and it's just the beat. And I think that's kind of similar, because if you don't know the lyrics or if you don't know what they're saying, if you don't know the language and you're just dancing to the beat as well, like at a wedding that we're kind of speaking about, you're just dancing to the beat anyway. Yeah. You're dancing to the flow of it, and you're kind of in that same type of vibe. As long as everyone's there to have a good time, the beat should really be all that matters. And if we're sitting at 120 and there's a song that's in Spanish that I don't know that's at 120 that like I cue in the headphones and it's like,
it sounds good. Yeah.
Why not? I mean, why not try? I can always mix out 30, 60 seconds in if they hate it and try. But I don't know. I think it really opens us up to being able to try new things and do the thing that we like to do is mix with no headphones. Just like when practicing is mixing with no headphones, mixing off the beat. And I think that's also similar, because if I don't know the words, if I don't know the lyrics, I have to read the wavelength. I have to get a vibe for the song from just being able to cue it, hearing 20 seconds of it and being like, okay, this actually works, or saying this will not work and going to something else.
It's coming in clean, like it's going to flow. People are gonna, it's not going to interrupt dancing, but people may not know the song, or half of the room will.
So I mean, it's all the same mechanics. You don't change anything. Yeah. It's just the titles of the songs I may not know, and
Yeah.
I think that's the major difference.
I think that's kind of cool, honestly.
I think so, too.
As humans, like, music connects us all.
Yeah.
You know, despite our cultural differences, our experiences, our history, where we're born, and our language we speak. But music is a uniting thing. I think that's kind of cool.
Absolutely.
Advice I would give for DJs or people like planning a wedding when they have a multicultural thing. If you're planning one, like be very clear how much you want of that.
Yeah.
And that you communicate that clearly to the DJ, and that you give them songs or find songs, have someone in your family find songs, like really narrow down what it is you want, how much you want of it, how important it is to you. Because if you're not careful, that'll just take over. And if you want that, fantastic. But if you want your traditional American, style music, you have to tell them, I want half and half, or I want 70-30, 60-40.
Yeah.
And be willing to kind of like, yeah, we've had enough of that. Switch back to the other stuff. Just tell your DJ what you want. DJs want to please you. If you are a DJ, the best thing I've learned from doing this for 20 years is just like, be honest about your shortcomings.
Yeah, and we can always change it up too. Like I remember a Hispanic wedding I was doing where I played a couple of Hispanic songs, and the bride and groom noticed that it wasn't hitting. Like, it wasn't what the rest of the room wanted, and all they did was look at me and just like,
yeah,
just let's
that was
cut
enough.
It.
Yeah,
that was enough, and we just switched it up, and we just went to just like typical wedding music and just like Bruno Mars and
yeah,
Cha-Cha Slide.
Yeah, just typical American wedding music.
And people got back on the dance floor, and it's just, that's it. Just be honest about what you want, and if you're not liking it, day up. And if you're planning for something and you really want it, and then 20 minutes in, you're like, maybe this isn't going to work, we can switch it up. Just be honest about that.
Yeah.
And we definitely can do that.
Yeah, most DJs, literally, they're in the service industry, and they want to make you dance. They want to please you, so they just, you got to tell them what's going to do the trick.
Absolutely.
What can happen though too is it gets so narrowly focused that it's like what, you're not playing this, like, you're a terrible DJ.
It's just true.
And it was so funny because you really can't please anybody, because it'll be like the bride and groom have told me they want just this music, traditional American kind of wedding music, and they don't want any of their family's traditional music.
Yeah.
And so the family will throw a fit. Why aren't you playing?
I ran into that recently when I was at the Allure for a wedding. One of the families was Polish, and they wanted traditional Polish music, and the bride specifically said, like, no Polish music. And I went up to the bride and was like, hey, the groom's mom is asking for Polish music. I know you said no, but like, what are your thoughts? And she was like, you could play one song. Mm-hmm. And then the groom was like, don't do that. And then the bride came up and was like, do it. And then the bride's mom came up again and was like, I don't want this to be their first argument ever. Like, they just got married. I don't want this to be their first argument. Just don't play the song. And then they came up and were like, just do the one song. So I was like, okay. But all night, like, we were getting Polish music requested, and I kept having to say, sorry, like, the bride said no. She gave us a lot of music, and I'm sorry, and possibly.
And polka too, like,
polka music.
Polka is different than traditional. There's Polish music and there's polka. There's two different.
Polka music.
But some people want polka, and some they want like disco polo, like Polish club music. They want different.
But yes, they wanted polka.
But polka is a different style, and so even that in that country, there's different styles of music.
And it was, mind you, like 10 o'clock. We're done at 11. Like, we're on Kesha. We're on Pitbull. We're having a hard party for the last hour right now. We're at 128 to 135, just having a good old time. And they're like, just do it. Just let's switch for 1 second. And we did, and it was great. Everybody loved it. And because I sold it on the mic just a little bit, like we've talked about, and if anybody knows polka, like, let's do this. Get on out there. And they did. And everyone else who was out there before who didn't know it stayed. And they all had a great time. And we moved on to the next song after, and everyone stayed out there. And we continued to have a great party. So it was that thing. It was that the family wanted it. We couldn't do it. And then the bride let one song through, and it was a hit. So
something that you said just reminded me too, that if you really want all of your guests to dance to music that they may not have heard growing up, if they grew up in America, you want to introduce them to that and be willing to teach them. I've had a few where they're like, we're doing a traditional dance and we'd like everyone to participate, but we're going to teach you how to do it.
Nice.
Okay. So then I'll introduce and I'll hand them mic off, and then they'll have, and there's a few steps. They make the dance really simple, but then people can join in and be part of the fun.
That's
and
cool.
Part of the cultural celebration. And then I love that because then you literally are blending the two families and the two cultures into one.
For sure.
I
love that.
Yeah, so be prepared to do that. And that can be really fun, too, because you can get everybody really going and then mix into something that they do know, that they have had experience with, and it's gone great. And I did one, honestly, it was an Irish one, where it was like a Kaylee. They were doing like a traditional Irish dance.
Yeah.
And then I went right into, I can't remember what it was, but Fireball. And it was just like
right in the Fireball.
Yeah, it was the song in the bog, and the way down in the valley,
okay, yeah.
The Rattling Bog.
Yeah.
And it was like, I mean, it was a huge long line doing a Kaylee, a special dance. Like your, what was that guy that did the dance? Was an Irish guy, Michael Flatley, Lord of the Dance. Do you remember this? It's a big 90s thing. I'm too old.
I think, you're dating yourself here. I don't
Sorry. Some of you guys know what I'm talking about. But anyway, it was that kind of dancing. Just like a little jig type of thing.
Yes.
But yeah. Anyway, but yeah, like we love multicultural weddings. We have had some experience with lots of different cultures, but every family's different, every couple's different, and every music taste is different. So, prepare, spend some time. If the dancing portion is important to you, you need to spend some time and you need to communicate to your DJ the importance of that. And if their DJ's any good, they're going to listen and they're going to just knock it out of the park for you.
Exactly.
You don't have to speak the language to play it.
Right. Yeah. Or to throw a big party.
I just need to know how much you want of it. I'm going to do a sprinkling, or just let you have
full
it.
Full send on it, or what do you like?
Good. All you're going to be hearing is Japanese pop music. I hope you like it.
Let's do it. Yeah. That sounds fun.
Guys, thank you so much for listening. That's
man.
all I have, and we'll see you next week.